Az elmégy úgy intézett nevetségesen hosszú névvel és még nevetségesebben hosszú történelemmel. A kép tanúsága szerint pont úgy fest, hogy a vámpír denevér kastélya az olcsó horrorfilmekben. The Meat War. A nagy húsháború a vadvidék ismert történelmének legnagyobb és legvéresebb konfliktusa, amely 822-től 849-ig tartott, és amíg ugyan kezdetben csak Alteriát, azaz kétfejű kontinenst sújtotta, az utolsó évekre kiterjedt 12 gyarmati tartományra is, köztük Clawville 4 gyarmatának mindegyikére. A húsháború alatt mintegy 80-90 millió állat vesztette életét, és a háború lezárása után 27 fajt nyilvánítottak kihaltnak. Wow.
Okay, so the picture is more or less clear. Ibn's got his brother killed because he learned Natasha worked in a brothel.
No, that could be the case, but I believe the roots go deeper than that.
Which we'd only learn if we talked to him. I mean, if the corpse isn't him, because then we'd need a medium.
Which would be exciting, but maybe it's enough if we ask the doctor who treated him.
That too, yeah. But where's the fun in that? It would be best to board it up. It'd go well with this rundown neighborhood.
It may be run down, but somehow I still feel like it's honest.
Sure, you could live in Cockroach Town. That's an honest place too. Has a similar stink.
Believe me, Marty, I thought about it.
Why am I not surprised?
Most kéne felhívni. Hogy volt 555-966? Gondolom nem megyünk el most odáig. Vagy elfogunk. Végül is kinyitották, úgymond. Na.
Well, I'd like to inquire about a patient who I believe is being treated at your institution. His name is Albert Wessler.
I'm sorry, sir, but I can't give out that information if you don't have the password.
Megvan nekünk az.
Unfortunately, I don't have that. I'm
But
not a relative. I'm calling from the Clawville
Hát
Police
ez
Department.
nem...
In that case, officer, I'd advise you to visit our institution personally. Our director and I would be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, miss. I guess I'll do that.
We'll welcome you with open arms, sir. Have yourself a beautiful starlit night.
Oh, thanks. Goodbye.
Be van téve most.
So,
We have to go there.
the thought gives me goosebumps.
Chicken bumps aren't good enough for you?
Ha ha ha.
A faszért nem tudunk menni már. Mit lehet még csinálni?
So, I get the couch?
It'd be better if I called Lewis. He'll open up a room for you to sleep in.
Whew, great idea.
Tényleg hívjam fel Louis-t. Mi volt a száma? 555 932, azt hiszem, de megnézem. 555 932, igen. Bocsánat.
Hey, Lewis, it's me again.
What's up?
Were you sleeping, pal?
Me? Oh, I wasn't. Anyway, I'm always at your
Milyen rendes ez a Louis.
Would you open up a room for Marty?
Naturally, Sonny.
Thanks, Louis. I'm not even gonna say it.
I will. Again.
Yeah.
Oké.
Sorry for the mess, Marty.
Don't worry about it, son.
Thanks.
Jó, most mehetünk akkor. Megyünk az elmegyógyintézetbe. A 4. chapter lassan vége amúgy. Most már lehet, hogy csak azért is kijátszom.
Like a miner or a soldier, empty, dead tired. Then I saw Tessa, my darling little daughter. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't recall her face. I reached out to her, but she just kept getting further and further away. Then I saw Molly. But she wasn't real, just the ghost of a memory. I'm here, I cried, but all I heard was laughter. Not hers. Who's there? Suddenly, she appeared. Natasha. Just stood there laughing, but her eyes were cold. Then she said something. Painted red, painted red, painted red.
Holy shit!
That was just a dream, Sonny. Nothing more. I looked at Marty and I saw the same thing in his eyes as he probably saw in mine. It's time to hit the brakes, to turn back, go home and forget about all of this. Of course, I stepped on the gas instead. Honestly, I wasn't expecting anything good, but this...
Ooh, just like a horror movie.
I was thinking the same. Let's hope so.
Giraffe.
This picture...
It's very...
special?
Maróka király.
We should check in first.
Jó, jó.
This guy seems strangely familiar to me.
You don't say. You've been treated here too. That would explain a lot.
Oh, don't be stupid. I'm serious. Take a closer look.
No.
Well?
No, it can't be. Are you telling me it's him? M.B. Davis himself?
I'm sure of it, pal. It seems the gossip was true. The eternal king of jazz in a madhouse.
Oh, no, no, no. The poor devil.
Oh.
Of all the great wild ones.
Greetings, miss.
Is it really you?
Well, yes.
Yes, it really is you. The chicken police.
I'm afraid so. Miss, we'd like
Hoppa.
to ask...
Please, don't be scared. I'm just really excited. You know, I've read every book about you and your adventures, and I even collected newspaper articles when I was a little girl.
Indeed.
You can't imagine what an honor it is to meet you in person.
We really...
Oh God, oh God, oh God. Take a deep breath, Miranda. Take a deep breath.
Are you okay, miss?
Yes, I am. I just needed some air. So, dear detectives, Valentina
Oh,
and
Istenem.
Martin, what can I do for you?
Well, miss, we have some questions, if you don't mind.
I'd love to answer all of your questions, detectives.
Új személyes info. Még 2 személy hiányzik. Név Miranda, növérke, zsiráf. Tele élettel, reménnyel és minden mással is. És óriási rajongónk, mint az kiderült. Personal infói pedig a egy túl kedves nővérke, akivel az elmegyógyintézet recepciós pultja mögött találkoztunk, és Mirandának hívják, és kellemetlenül nagy rajongója a csirkekopóknak. Chicken Police-nak.
Say, miss, what can you tell us about this place?
Our institution was standing even before the Great Meat War, and during the war, it was transformed into a military hospital. Since then, we're relentlessly working on treating injured minds under the leadership of Dr. Quetzal, the famous specialist.
The place seems pretty empty. Do many people work here?
We have 32 residents and 7 nurses, including me. We also have a 3-person maintenance and cleaning staff, and, of course, the heart and soul of our institution, Dr. Quetzal himself.
I see. Now, this Dr. Quetzal, is he the director here?
Exactly. Director, scientist, researcher, patron, and doctor. And even a friend.
Quite a guy.
He certainly is.
So who is this Dr. Quetzal exactly?
He's a world-famous researcher of the mind, Mr. Featherland. He published countless books in the fields of psychology and psychotherapy.
Psycho... what?
Unraveling the mind. It's the most crucial mission of the century, Mr. McChicken.
That's really good to know.
So this doctor's some celebrity, right? Does he usually meet other important persons?
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
Well, like Mr. Hobart Wessler, for example.
Ah, yes. That's something you should ask the doctor himself, but unfortunately, I don't think he has time right now.
He's swamped, is he?
Exactly, Mr. Featherland. He is very, very, very busy. All the time.
I thought so. What can you say about this, miss? Have you seen anything like it?
Huh.
Ja.
I see.
Nem lehet vissza. Autólejátszás vissza.
What can you say about
Okay.
this, miss? Have you seen anything like it?
Of course. Our residents wear these for identification. But how did you come by it? They only wear them inside the institution.
Hát igen.
I see.
The wristband does belong to one of our residents, but I'm afraid I'm not allowed to tell you more due to regulations.
Oh, come on, Miranda. It's us. Chicken Police.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Miranda, this case is a matter of life and death. Lives are in your hands.
All right.
Hát így könnyű megtudni dolgokat.
I'll do it. Albert Wessler. The patient's name is Albert Thaddeus Wessler.
Figures. Just as we thought.
Thank you, Miranda. We'll never forget this.
Please, don't make me blush. And don't tell anyone you heard it from me.
Oh, we won't. I promise.
Okay,
So
Albert
when can
Thaddeus
we
Wessler.
talk to Mr. Wessler?
I need to ask Dr. Quetzal. Please wait here.
Szóval itt van még?
Thank you.
És megtudtuk, az van. Már csak egy személy hiányzik, Dr. Quetzal. Coatl. Uff, azt mondja, a név ez. Smaragdzöld piton. Mirelia viridis. Gondolom ez a latin megfelelője. Egyedi ismertető rideg, távoli és profi. Mi? Rideg, távoli és profi és a hideg kiráz tőle. A professzor egy igazi polihisztor, tudós, író, filozófus és még ki tudja mi minden más.
We should go to reception first.
Hát itt vagyunk. Haló?
Even if you manage to escape, there's nothing but hills and forests for 100 miles.
Imagine how many poor lunatic ghosts must haunt those woods.
Ooh, Sonny, you're creeping me out.
Dr. Quetzal will see you. He's waiting for you in his office. Up the stairs, all the way down the hall, until the last door.
Fel a lépcsőn végig a folyosón egészen az
What
utolsó
a
irodáig.
surprise. It's enough to mention Wessler's name and all the doors are open.
I wouldn't want to get mixed up in this, but do you think Albert is in danger?
Danger? What do you mean?
We haven't heard from him since he disappeared.
Oh,
And
no.
we're
Akkor
really,
nincs majd.
really worried.
I see. We don't know yet, miss, but let's hope for the best.
Great wild ones protect him.
Ma
Where
baja
is he?
nem lesz.
No idea, Marty.
The smell. Ugh, of all, it's furry. I'll never get used to it.
Well, reptiles have a disgusting body odor, Marty, but they feel exactly the same about us.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Great wild ones. You scared the hell out of me.
I already sensed your arrival from afar. You know, snakes have a different sense of smell. And birds used to be our prey once upon a time.
Well, yeah. Luckily, we're living in civilized times.
Hát, na ja.
Lucky. Please take a seat. How can I
Miben
help you, gentlemen?
segíthetek az uraknak? Na várjunk először a személyek között. Albertnek is lett új. Azt hiszem bele trafáltunk. Albert Wessler eltűnt az elmegyógyintézetből.
Why do you have bars on your windows?
Because it's a room like all the others, and I'm just an animal too, like all our residents.
With the significant difference of you being a doctor and not a patient. Am I?
It's not as big of a difference as you'd think.
Ó, be.
Your office is rather Puritan. Simple, I mean.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, yes. I can't let my mind wander from my work. I only keep what's essential in my office.
Ha,
I see. Makes sense.
lehet nekem is ezt kéne néha.
An isle of reason in a sea of insanity.
Insanity is such a strong word, and it's mostly an abstract idea. Where does insanity start, and how long is one not insane? Interesting question.
Elég fura egy figura.
Am I normal, or are you? Maybe neither of us.
You see, that's something I think about a lot nowadays.
If you like, I can give you an appointment.
Oh, this is your chance, Sonny. Don't miss it. See here.
Clock up.
Na jó van, azt hát a falak már volt.
To be honest, gentlemen, your visit is anything but a surprise. I could even say I was expecting it.
What an introduction.
Please forgive me. I have the bad habit of immediately getting into the middle of things. How very rude of me. My name is Dr. Sessuous Quetzalcoatl, but most call me Dr. Quetzal to keep it simple.
De nagyon szimplre akarjuk tenni, hogy csak
The name
doktor.
is Santino Featherland, and this is my partner, Martin McChicken.
From the predatory division of the Clawville Police Department. Your fame is one step ahead of you.
Hát, igen.
We're used to it.
Certainly.
We have some questions about one of your patients, if you don't mind. We'd like to talk to him, if that's possible.
Please be specific, detective.
Look, Doctor, we're too tired to play cat and mouse. Not that snake and chicken sounds any better.
Very funny, I must say. Just what I expected from you two detectives.
We know you know it's about Albert Wessler, Ibn Wessler's secret twin. Ever since we've said his name, all the doors have miraculously opened. That's what we call a bullseye.
Well, yes. Why should I deny it? We're talking about a rather illustrious patient here, who's also a very particular medical case.
Now, that's much more interesting. So, are you willing to talk about him?
Because Albert regrettably has disappeared, and you are police detectives, I have no reason not to talk to you. Of course, I'm at your service, but you must understand, I can't disclose information about my patients.
Na szóval, nos, mivel Albert sajátos módon eltűnt, maguk pedig rendelni az okom lenne, nem beszélne a dologról. Persze, készséggel állok a rendelkezésükre, bár meg kell érteniük, hogy bizonyos információkat nem adhatok ki.
Not even if it's a matter of life and death?
Everything's a matter of life and death in here, detective. This is a hospital, even if it's primarily for the mind, not the body.
Still, I'd like to give the impossible a try.
Please, detective, just do your job, and I'll do mine.
How long was Albert a resident of the institution?
For quite some time. His first symptoms surfaced in his teens. Depression, panic attacks, and schizophrenia.
Was he brought here immediately after the first signs that something wasn't right?
You know, the biggest problem with an opinion on insanity is that animals are ashamed of it. That's the reason our institution stands out here in the middle of nowhere.
Because animals would rather hide what they're afraid to face.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
As far as I know, the Wessler family wasn't exceptionally wealthy.
Indeed, they were rather poor, but we offer our services gratis.
Then how do you sustain yourselves?
By the grace of the treasury of King Hector III, of course.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
My family and the royal dynasty had always been on good terms, Mr. Santino.
Oh.
What kind of a place is this exactly? I assume it
Mondjuk
wasn't
eddig nem
built as an
haladunk
insane
jól.
asylum.
It used to be a mansion. Construction started during the occupation in 622. Then it stood empty for almost a century, until finally it went to the crown of Clawville when Hector's great-grandfather took the throne. The rest is history.
Sorry.
How long have you been working here?
I've worked here for more than 30 years.
Wow.
But it's been in my family's possession for almost 150 years.
Az,
So if I count correctly, as soon as it went to the crown, it was seized by your family.
That's almost accurate, Mr. Featherland.
What a lovely inheritance.
Madame Zayva. Most tudom.
Tell me, Doctor, do you know Madame Zavas?
Zayvas.
Just like everybody else, I've heard of her. But I never had the pleasure of meeting her in person. I'm sure she's an interesting case.
Hát az volt.
Oh, you can be sure about that. I'd gladly get you two together if I had the chance.
Is that so?
As it turns out, she likes small, narrow, secret places.
Oh, I see. What a coincidence.
What a coincidence! Oh. Hát akkor mehet kihallgatni.
Dr. Quetzal's a real mystery. But I can turn that to my advantage. I just need to focus on the strangest pieces of the puzzle.
Szóval, mikor is került Albert intézménybe?
So, when did Albert become a resident of your institute?
Albert and Hobart, or Ibn as you call him, arrived here almost exactly 4 years ago.
Could you describe that day more specifically?
It was not long after New Year's Eve, maybe the first week of the year, if I'm not mistaken. It was sleeting that day. Wind was banging incessantly on the windows. The power was going out for short periods of time.
What was your first impression of them?
I already knew the Wessler name. I knew who they were. or at least I knew one of them, Hobart Wessler. He was famous. Gangster, moneylender, celebrity, lover.
And Albert?
He was new to me, an invisible grey ghost. The family had tried to keep his existence a secret.
Why?
Because they were ashamed of him, of course, Mr. Featherland. That's how it usually is.
What was your first impression of him?
He was silent, but observed everything that surrounded him. His eyes were constantly moving, never stopped for a second.
Was he afraid?
I wouldn't say so. It seemed to me that he wanted to move into our institution voluntarily. It looked as if he couldn't wait to be here, alone, locked up in silence and darkness.
Didn't you think of that
Darkness.
as unusual?
Of course I did, but who am I to judge? It was rather special treatment.
Oho. Viselkedősában részesült. Albert mondja, időn vesztettek könyveket.
What kind of special treatment did
Hát
Albert
inkább
get?
ezt.
You know, if an institution like ours has to accept a Wessler as a guest, there's bound to be some favoritism.
And complete secrecy, I guess.
Yes, but that's the case for all our patients, Mr. Featherland.
Of course. So in what way did he receive more than the others?
Basically, we don't admit anyone into our institution without a complete and thorough prior assessment. In the case of Albert, we put that aside.
So you didn't even know if he had anything wrong with him?
Initially, no. He was more of a guest than a patient.
Megkérdezem azt. Van egyébként is most mondtál, hogy nem is tudta először. Na
How
mindegy.
did you see Albert when you first met?
Albert was shy and reserved, like a ghost. He almost never touched anything. It was evident he was exceptionally intelligent. He measured and observed everything around him.
What else?
He was delicate and graceful, almost like a woman. Yes. He was rather feminine. He was an artist, Mr. Featherland, a magnificent painter, and rather good writer, too. Sometimes I even heard him sing.
Hát mondjuk azt mondtam. Schizofrén volt,
Why did he have to be
mondtam.
locked up?
Az is.
I asked the same thing at
Már akkor
first.
más személyisége volt, nem tudom. Azt mondja, Albertnek talán több személyiség.
Are you
is
telling
volt.
me Albert had multiple personalities?
We found out very quickly that there was no other reason for the cause of his seizures. He had a cold and calculating personality who sometimes, especially on stormy days, took the reins over their shared
Értek.
mind.
He had these seizures from the beginning.
Yes, Mr. Featherland, but they started to intensify after Albert left our institution for the first time.
He did what? Left the institution? More than once?
Oh, yes, Mr. Featherland. Albert left the institution on several occasions until the last time, when he failed to come back.
Elvett magát.
Quetzal's not only very observant, but he's addicted to details. I must focus on that if I want to get closer to the truth. Focus.
Maga elhallgatott előlem néhány dolgot igazam van. Mikor és miért hagyta el Albert először az intézményt, szóval Albert csak úgy kibejárkálhatott, hogy engedhetett Albert elhagyni a helyet. Nem csak jó vagy. Ja, nem csak jó vagy.
When and why did Albert leave the institution for the first time?
It was about 2 years ago. Mr. Hobart Wessler appeared and demanded we let his brother go free. Naturally, we obliged. We had no idea if we'd ever see him again.
But you did.
He returned the same day. Albert was ecstatic. He was unrestrained. I could almost say happy.
That was unusual for him?
I had never seen him like that before, Mr. Featherland. He just smiled and stared at the empty wall for hours.
Did he ever tell you what happened to him outside?
Of course he did. Albert and I had a good relationship. He was working.
Hát, hogy a festménydarab az az övéből van. Vagy még mindig van egy festménydarab.
Was it a painting of a lovely lady cat?
Oh, exactly. So you already knew about that.
Yes, Dr. Quetzal, I've seen it.
Oké, zsír. Albert mesélt önnek a testvérével való kapcsolatáról, beszélt önnek Albert valahan is Natasáról. Szóval Albert több ízben is elment, hogy folytathassa a festményt. Albert elmondta önnek, mit érez a festménnyel kapcsolatban.
Did Albert tell you about his relationship with it?
Rarely.
With his
He
brother.
respected and loved his brother, but when he came to talk, he was usually angry.
Oh, why?
Fear, jealousy, frustration, rivalry, maybe all of these combined.
-5 csába. Szóval Albert több ízben is elment, hogy folytathassa a
So
festményt.
Albert left on many occasions to continue working on the painting.
Exactly, Mr. Featherland. Every time he came back, he was like a different person. But unfortunately, his seizures also multiplied and became more dangerous.
More dangerous?
More dangerous.
Albert was hurting himself. And on one occasion, he even tried to hurt me. It was unprecedented. It seemed his confined personality was taking over their shared mind entirely, piece by piece.
Do you think the painting caused it?
Not the painting, Mr. Featherland.
But its subject.
Exactly. He was obsessed. Right until that fateful day when he returned to us for the last time.
What exactly happened that day, Doctor?
It wasn't Hobart who brought his brother back that day, but
Okay.
2 of his gorillas. Not literally, I mean. And Albert was in a terrible, terrible state.
What happened to him?
I don't like to talk about that, Mr. Featherland.
It could be vital to the case, Dr. Quetzal. Don't back down.
Oh, you're right. There's no use turning back now. So, Albert's tongue was torn out, or cut off, I don't know exactly. And he was blinded in one eye. Or rather, one of his eyes was missing entirely.
So you're saying Albert was brought back horribly mutilated?
Yes. And they didn't give any explanation as to what had happened. They simply told me it was some kind of accident.
Dr. Quetzal is cold and professional, but he's also very confused. Maybe it's cruel, but I must exploit his vulnerability if I want to learn everything about Albert. Focus.
Szóval lehet, hogy nem könnyű erről beszélni, de megvizsgált alaposabban a sérüléseit. Természetesen nem hitte el, hogy Albertet balesetért igaz. A két tag, akik behoztak Albertet, leírna nekem őket.
Maybe it's not easy for you to talk about it, but did you examine his wounds thoroughly?
I'm not that kind of doctor, Mr. Featherland, but even I could determine his tongue was either cut out or bitten off, and his eye was gouged out. He also had several broken bones.
But there's no doubt it wasn't an accident.
I don't believe it was, Mr. Featherland.
Lényegében most két kérdés között, két kérdés
I
is
totally
feltettek,
agree.
ami fel volt sorolva nekünk. Tehát így. Jó. Egy össze doktor, milyen volt Albert állapot az incidens után? Koncentráljon, doktor úr. Mi gondolom, mi történt Alberttel? Kérdezzük rá, hogy milyen volt utána, hogy mi történhetett. Doktor, milyen volt Albert állapot az incidens után?
Concentrate, Doctor. What do you think happened to Albert?
I'm sure it was Hobart. He ordered his men to mutilate poor Albert.
But why would he do that?
Maybe Albert saw something he could accidentally reveal.
Ebben van valami.
The four walls, a couple of crazies, you?
To anyone, Mr. Featherland.
I don't think it's that simple, Doctor. But thank you for your honest opinion.
You're welcome, Detective.
Mi történt ezután? Hogyan tűnt el
What happened
Albert?
then? How did Albert disappear?
A few weeks later, Hobart came to visit Albert one more time. Albert had been in terrible condition by then. We even had to transfer him to another cell, a more safe one.
What did Hobart do during the visit?
He didn't do anything. He just sat and watched his brother, who was in an almost vegetative state by then.
Couldn't you manage to draw anything out of him? You or Hobart?
Nothing. For a while he was trying to signal something. Perhaps he was too afraid. And most likely his fingers had been broken too, so he couldn't even write.
Do you think
Jól
Hobart
intézték
could
szegényt.
have killed Albert?
It's horrible to say it, but I'm sure of it.
How did he disappear in the end? Did someone come for him?
That's what's most eerie about it all, Mr. Featherland. He simply disappeared. His door, which only I had a key for, was open.
Did anyone see anything?
No one. We interrogated the staff, even the patients. He simply vanished off the face of the wilderness. We don't know.
Vajon elmondja neki?
Unfortunately, I have a hunch. Thank you, Doctor. You've been a great help.
Oh, well, I'm glad I could be of help. But please, I now must attend to my work.
We understand, Doctor. Thank you.
Na. Megint 90. Csak nem sikerült 100%-osat. Pontos nyom. Albert Wessler eltűnt. Van egy sejtésem róla, hogy mi történhetett vele. Tetszed le, igen. Nyomok. Albert Wessler eltűnt, van egy sejtésem, igen. A professzor családja már több mint 100 éve uralja az elmegyőintézet épületet és hozzátartozó birtokot. Nem semmi az örökség. Az az biztos. Rideg kimért és végletekig profi a saját területén, de az, ami Alberttel történt, még őt is kihozta a sodrából. Albertet a testvére Iben több alkalommal is kihozott az intézetből, hogy megfesthesse azt a végzetes képet Natasáról. Azt hiszem, megvan a motivációnk, uraim. Iben valószínűleg saját testvérét Albert Wesslert ölte vagy ölette meg és tüntette el Zippel. Legalábbis egyelőre ez tűnik a legvalószínűbbnek. The Half-Century Occupation. Clawfield alapítása óta csak egy alkalommal próbálták meg leigázni. A félszázados megszállás 622-ben kezdődött és 670-ig tartott. Ez idő alatt a Harar birodalom okkupálta Clawfield minden területét, kivéve annak gyarmatait. Gyarmatait, melyek végül Szvalaszó és Vlavoslavia segítségével visszavették Clawfield irányítását. Oké, buddy.
That's quite shocking information.
I think you understand why we kept it a secret. If it wasn't for Mr. Wessler's demand, we'd never let any of our patients walk freely outside our institution.
Then the accident happened.
Accident? Ha! We didn't believe it, not for a second. After Albert came back to us, horribly mutilated, he was different.
Different how?
If someone got one of his eyes poked out and his tongue torn out, he'd be different, but not like this. Albert was a different person.
We believe you, Doctor. So, can we take a look at Albert's cell?
I'd rather call it his room. Mr. Wessler lived in exceptional circumstances.
Thanks to the Wessler name, I guess.
Yes. Well, we try to make all of our patients stay as comfortable as possible, but Albert certainly enjoyed special favoritism.
I hope you don't mind if we take a look around in there.
That's not going to bother anyone.
Okay.
Well, that's surprising.
I've never seen a cell like this before, that's for sure. I wouldn't mind living here myself.
It seems that being a Wessler gets you privileges.
Megvan a bronz. Na,
And a healthy dose of danger.
szopi ügyes vagy.
Mostly that, yeah. Let's take a good look around. I'm sure we'll find some
Most már nekem
answers
is el
here.
kell mennem, majd
I can
akkor
almost smell
beérnem téged. Na, leginkább az igen. Nézzünk szét alaposan, biztos vagyok benne, hogy itt válaszok várnak ránk. Szinte érzem a szagokat.
I smell paint, ink, plaster, some kind of oil, aging paper, slight smell of rat, and great expectations.
What the dickens?
Unmistakable. Yeah.
This place is bad for you, pal. But if you've already jump-started your beak holes, then sniff out the solution.
I'm on it, Boss Bird.
No.
Look at that. A letter.
Okay.
Identical twins. And looking at it, they may have easily loved the same woman.
Meglát. Most a nő miatt megölték volna.
Nothing good ever comes of that.
Ez megint a nők hibája.
Well, I wouldn't say that exactly.
Nem ám nyugi.
Of all the wild ones, Marty, please, stitch up your beak, okay?
Just use your imagination, old bird.
Oké. Eltettük a képet is. Legás. Még egy. És ablak.
The style. It's very familiar to me.
You've been lonely for far too long, huh?
Not funny, Marty.
It is, a little. So this is an original Albert Wessler.
I think so. It's pretty good, I must say. And I saw something very similar in
Yeah.
Natasha's room.
You kept me out of it.
Sorry, little boy. Maybe next time.
Okay.
You know, I don't think he had it so bad in here.
You mean apart from being separated from everyone you love in an ancient mansion filled with madmen?
You're right.
As always.
No way. Is this some kind of puzzle?
No,
I
nem
don't
akarok
think so.
puzzle.
But we could still find something important here. A pattern, a sign, anything.
Most tudnék rajzolni valami csúnyát. Jutott így 8. Na, ez megint szopó lesz itt.
A small window, a small hope. Identical twins. And looking at it, they may have easily loved the same woman. Albert was madly in love with Natasha and would have done anything for her. I'm afraid he did exactly that. Oh man, I totally get you. It's a piece of a painting. Judging by how well it's done, I'm sure this is what Natasha wanted to show us. It's a piece of a
Tekintve, hogy
painting.
mennyire el volt rajta
Judging
biztos.
by how
Ja,
well it was hidden.
igen.
What do you make of this?
Apart from the fact the guy was totally insane? I don't know. What should I?
That maybe we've been chasing the wrong person all this time, Marty.
What do you mean?
Everything will be revealed soon.
Why do you have to be so melodramatic all of a sudden?
If I'm right, this'll flip the
Hogy jó lenne, mi ne
whole
haladná
case
inkább picit a
upside
fenébe.
down.
Igaz van, az egész ügy fejetetője áll.
What's that, Sonny? A blurb from some horrible novel?
Együnk gyújtsunk rá egyet, nem?
I just have to think things through before I come to any hasty conclusions, Marty.
Hármakat a közök.
You're
Szaladok.
killing me. So, what now? Where to?
Hozzá még egy
Back to Cloverfield,
zigit is.
where we can finally put all the pieces together.
Már én nem nagyon cigizek, de egyet eldurrantott. Csak akkor innunk is kell, úgyhogy hozd magaddal a piát. Jaj, vissza Cloverfield-be, ahol végre összerakhatjuk a teljes képet.
You're driving me crazy. But all right.
Jön a final. Jó, én állom. Bort kapsz, más nincs. Nem, tudok csinálni koktélt. Na de jön a végjáték, úgy érzem. Akkor én. Szóval milyen nyom? A plusz nyom, amit igazából nem mondott be. Albert örültem beleszeretett Natasába, talán ezért kellett meghalnia. De ki a fa... Ott kezdődött az egész, hogy...
Oh, I don't believe this. Those two again?
Ó,
Take 'em
megélnek.
out. My car won't last much longer.
Don't worry, Sonny. I was born to do this.
shoot.
Megvan. Szóval ott kezdődött, hogy valaki burvázza a csajt, és már nem is ott vagyunk, már rég nem is, el is a felejtve, vagy nem tudom, tehát már annyira szétkur az egész, már úgy mondom, hogy jó értelemben, hogy
A little too close for my taste, and it only strengthens my belief. Wessler is desperate. He knows if we survive, he's done for.
én csak erős talpa, egyébként is gondoltam, Veszle kicsik van esve, tudja, hogy ha mi életben vagyunk, neki
What
lőttek.
did you work out? Will you tell me already?
Sure. Let's put the picture together, piece by piece.
Ja, akkor most lesz egy kis nyomozás.
From the beginning.
Kezdjük az elejétől, szóval kaptunk
We got a
egy ügyet.
case.
Vagy, ja? Várjál. Kezdjük az elejétől, szóval kaptunk egy ügyet. Natasha el akarta titkolni a festményt előlünk, Natasha azt akarta, hogy megtaláljuk a festményt neki. Natasha megpróbálta megmutatni nekünk a festményt, Natasha el akarta pusztítani a festményt, hogy elkendőzze, mi történt Albert Wesslerrel. Nem. Pedig abba gondolkodtam. Akkor Natasha megpróbálta megmutatni nekünk a festményt, Natasha akarta, hogy megtaláljuk a festményt neki.
Natasha tried to show us the painting.
És akkor jött a végzetes szerelem? Vagy itt is izé kell, itt is tárgy kell. Nem. Pontosan, de nem most akkor. Ez
And that painting would have shown us the
festmény
way.
elvesztett volna minket. Albert Wessler titkos búvóhelyéhez. Ja, elvezetett volna minket. Albert Wessler titkos búvóhelyéhez, amit még mindig meg kéne találnunk. Iben és Albert Wesslerhez. Albert megfestette Natasha képét, tehát többször is találkozniuk kellett. Albert Wessler hullájához, ami mostanra bizonyára eltűnt, nem egy gyógyintézetben, ahol megtudtuk, hogy Iben megölt arra. Nem.
Ibn and Albert Wessler. Albert painted Natasha, so he met her on more than one occasion.
Akkor jött a végzetes szerelem. Hatallam.
Which made Albert
Elmenekült az intézetbe, hogy azt körülvevő sötét erdőben éljen őrült remeteként. Beleszeretett Natasába, míg egy végzetes éjszakán megölte a saját testvérét, hogy átvegye annak helyét, és elnyere Natasha szívét. Beleszeretett Natasába, és elszökött titkos búvó helyére, amit még mindig meg kell, hogy találjunk. Megölte testvérét, átvette a helyét, rávette Natasát, hogy etessen be minket a fenyegetések ügyébe. Szerintem ez. Nem. Akkor passz meg. Nem, beleszeretett Natasha, még egy végzetes éjszakán megölte a saját testvérét, hogy átvegye annak helyét, és elnyelje Natasha szívét. Akkor ez. De akkor ki a faszon fenyegette? De hát akkor azt csak maguk találták ki, nem? Ügy lezárva.
So what happens now?
The inevitable, Marty. We're going to the Wessler mansion to confront Ibn with the facts.
Új.
You mean Albert, right?
Yeah,
Yo.
exactly. And of course,
Ah.
Natasha.
Do you think she knew about it?
Something stinks, Marty. The whole
Yes,
case seems too intricate.
Jó, most elkezd.
Too many coincidences,
Vagy
right?
gondolom, akkor az.
Well, after 10 years, you did learn something, didn't you?
Azért nem érted.
You're right.
Huh. just laughed, Sonny.
What? No, I
Felhorva.
snorted.
No, you laughed.
Ah, just leave it, Marty.
I'll be telling this to my grandchicks.
All right, now that's enough.
Yes, little strong. Grand.
Okay. So, Albert fell madly in love with Natasha and decided to have her for himself.
And his best chance was to trade places with Ibn Wessler.
So that's why the torn out tongue.
Yeah, Ibn couldn't squeal even if he wanted to.
Wow, okay.
What a diabolical plan.
More like insane.
Wow.
But why the messages then? Why the threats? Albert got what he wanted. He could have got away with it.
I'm not a psychologist, Marty, but remember what the doctor told us. Albert has a seriously injured mind and a split personality. I think his two identities were at war with each other.
So the messages were written by one of his personalities, consumed by jealousy?
Something like that, Marty. But we can only learn the whole truth from him.
You're right. So, are we going or what?
We're going, Marty, to finally finish what we started.
Well, if there's anything you'd like to do before, do it now, boss. You won't have a chance
Megyünk a
later.
faszomba, nem szórakozunk.
You're right, Marty. It's time to wrap everything up.
Bassz, mi van itt? Albert maga Ibn Wessler, az őrült testvér átvette a fivére helyét, és most megpróbálja átlátni a szállakat. Nem kapjuk el, most könnyen látják.
Hey, Lewis. You weren't awake all night because of us, were ya?
I've never been this excited, Sonny. Seriously, it is a great honor to be part of the team. What is it?
You, Lewis, you don't stutter anymore.
What?
Just now, you didn't stutter. Not even a little.
Oh. I must be exhausted. It happens sometimes.
And it's back.
So, thanks again, Lewis. You always get us out of trouble.
Come on, boys. Don't even mention it. It is me who is grateful to be a part of an adventure of the chicken police.
Maybe the last one, too.
Hey, Sonny. Don't spoil his mood. He's so cute.
Pardon?
Nothing.
No.
I see we're ready.
You'll need a shotgun for this kind of deal, Marty. Maybe even that won't be enough.
Nothing to fear while Bertha's here. Even less because you're here too with Mr. Sinclair, of course.
Should I cry?
That would be nice for a change.
Na,